welcome to your story channel, Audiophile Center. And today, Jaya, we please send to your audience of the audio channel a series of stories, Chinese folk ghosts. This series is called The Practitioners of the Underworld. Of the dance author, it's a work of the occult kind, a combination of spiritual elements, demonic magic, and the world of yin and yang. This is also highly appreciated thanks to building a space full of mystery and complicated conspiracies related to the main character, White Cells, a shaman who's able to communicate with the world of sound. In addition, there are elements such as magic, Feng Shui, and confrontations with the devil. It creates its own appeal. For this series, well, if you've ever heard of the series, as far as I can see, this series, the content is almost like the Invisible Land series. The length of this series is about 20 episodes. I'm almost done with it too. Right now, I'm just up. I hope that you can listen to this series. Remember to like and comment my feelings after hearing the story. Especially don't forget, share this series if you feel good. Once again, thank you very much, and soon we'll be together. Begins in the first volume of the Yin-Yang Practitioner series. This story happened at the end of my life, early period of the nation. At that time, the state had lost its destiny. The reign is over. The fate is over. This is a time of confusion. Military forces everywhere have emerged. The sand is fighting each other. Led to constant fighting, blood flowing into the river. People are hungry and hungry. The military spies on you. He wanted money to suppress bandits. Was stationed in the Eastern Land Code, Royal Mausoleum, began to dig up treasures and plunder countless gold and silver. It caused the palace to be destroyed. Shunzi's coffin was overturned. The Queen Mother is out in the coffin. That the vocal cords were cut off. It has touched 7 battle lines used to suppress demons. Kangi coffin in the Royal Palace Mausoleum. Make paint tin willow evil soul love lake, along with all species. The spirits in the sky and on the earth woke up at the same time. Or become a human. Or borrow the body of the spirit to harm the world. But everything has its own kind. There's a devil raging. There are also righteous people who use the law. At that time, the Buddha's magical mantra, Mao Shan Dharma, soul, intercession, Western art, padded armor, ancient techniques and so on, appear one after another. At the end of that nation, there are 4 yin and yang masters, rely on their own strength to save sentient beings from danger. Those 4 people are Maoist exorcism, angel, Dragon Clan exorcism, family code, Master Mao Shanlin 9 end, and Yin-Yang, the messenger of Bach. And right now, we're going to talk about Bach. Bach said this is the Manchurian white flag. The ancestors were made gods by the Lao. Heaven General, where top hat silver products. Then the daughter married the father's son. Mainland of Shaanxi, to do things in front of the body. Where martial arts class, 6. Allowance 60 silver, 50 rice school. That's the hammock. It was once considered glorious. However, in time, white generation, the family gradually declined. Transmitted position. He was also captured by his uncle. He was idle at home, living on acres of land, along with treasure chests left behind by our ancestors. This white man is in his teenage years. I don't like smoking. I don't like girls. But God is born into gambling. Take all the land and treasure boxes. Stay in the house to pledge to gamble. Even 2 white hands can't get a wife. People make fun of him. I batch Jia. Did anything break on the silver screen today? He just laughed and replied, Guys, I'm empty-handed today, so I can leave tomorrow. In everyone's heart, they understand. You don't have to ask, you'll lose again. Batch replied that it was refreshing. There is a saying that you lose money without losing face, without losing integrity. He never cared about others, how to look at yourself, at any time. I have not forgotten the honor of my ancestors. I often mention that this is the face. Since the beginning of the year, everyone has cut their hair. It's symbolic of cutting off the tail of the old regime begins again, a new era. Just push the door out. You can see the barbers are done, all over the big street. There's 3 people in line, 5 people waiting to cut their braids. There are also conservatives who don't want to cut their pigtails, people who don't want to cut their braids. They are held by people, chased all over the city. Of course, there are opportunists. Roll the braids on top of the head into a bun and put your nose down. When I glimpse, you can't see the braids. It's like closing a lock. For the past few days, Batch has been hiding in the house, dare not to go out. 1 is the fear of being cut off. 2 is in hand no money to gamble. Of course, there is no money for gambling. Usually the bosses, the casino staff who met him called for an hour. White House, then 100,000 ways to take heart. Pouring tea and inviting precious water like a precious guest. But it's different now. White cells in their eyes, no different than a beggar. Tell me who your ancestors were. Take money, not people. People who are addicted to gambling. The whole body is extremely uncomfortable. It's like ants are all over you. I can't stand it. I just want to grab the dice and roll up my sleeves. So a few times for sweating, for refreshing soul. 7 cells have been scattered throughout the entire house. See if there's anything. Sold half a pound of silver. To go to the casino and get some cash back. Looking for a long time. In a rice bowl at home, suddenly I got an 8. White cells cheered silently. Please rub and rub the 8 ceramic glazes of the German furnace here. The stuff in the rice left by the ancestors. I haven't touched this rice bell in a long time. I can't believe I got this thing in here. Then the white cells hide the porcelain in the chest. Put your hat on and push the door out. Walking towards the lost school in the city. Talk about this, chief. It's a place that gathers to eat and gamble and smoke. It's a bar in the red light district. School lost ward. Dare to openly harbor prostitution and gambling. It's because there's a warlord behind it, colluded with both officials to investigate the wrong informant. Officials come to arrest gambling. Catching prostitutes just makes no rules. Take a walk in the lost school. Take a few coins and go slowly. From big officials to small businesses. Anyone who wants to enjoy is gathered here. Gambling all night long and spending lavishly. Too tired to gamble. Go to the second floor of the school. The smell of chalk is enough to captivate people. Forget the earth. If you have some money, go to the third floor. Lying on the sedge, inhaling opium. Orgasm sucks some breath. Make sure to make people flutter like a fairy. It's like stepping into the ecstasy of pleasure here. Losing all the money doesn't hurt. The school has a separate room specialized for pawning. Pledge for the crazy gamblers. If you have something of value, you can bring it here as a pledge. The price is, of course, much lower compared to a regular pawn shop, but the collateral doesn't need to know the background. Just press your finger to sign the contract. The money will be in your hands. Let you continue to gamble. So this is also a place where a lot of people gather. Unscrupulous members of society, thieves and cheaters, are not few. The lost school is also a place where dragons and fish get mixed up. White cells are lucky today. Earn a small amount. Gamble until late at night to go home. It's midnight now. The moon is hidden in the clouds. The sky and the earth are as black as ink. Stand carefully in. When white cells go to a small alley, I heard someone suddenly speak, jerking me off. Hurry up and cover your pocket, then squint at the other person. In mine bag, there's a guy squatting, selling stuff. Batch said to look closely. This man turned out to be a 70-year-old man. White hair, tattered clothes. Just bow down and unpack. On the ground, he spreads out an old, broken leather rope. Whatever is on it, the shirt. Horse shroud, pillow, banknote, overlay. There is also an 8-piece of rice in front. It's smoking. On top of 8 rice, stick a pair of chopsticks straight. It looks like you're giving to the dead. What did you tell me to be careful about? White cells didn't step on his goat skin. I saw him again in the middle of the night. Put out this damn theater. They sell the stuff of the dead, not out of fear in my heart. I heard your footsteps hit the ground so hard. I'm probably at a crazy age, but my feet are in a hurry. Unsteady haste. I'm afraid I'm going the wrong way. The gray-haired old man slowly raised his head. Thin cheeks, with only one skin left. My face is a little yellow. It's worse than in the deep eye. But without your child, you're all white. She said because her white eyes were staring, so that the whole body nourishes the nape hair. Shaky person, 7 to vacuum. Sow lifting. He just rolled and crawled and ran for life and died. This happens to AI without fear. Don't see Batch saying his ancestors were martial artists. He has no martial arts spirit in his whole body. Don't talk about beating people, that even riding donkeys with both feet trembling. He's a coward. They say the night is windy. This weather is for the devil. Your white blood cells are so threatened that your soul is in the clouds. I lost all 7 parts. There is no difference between the north and the east. She refused to die. I don't know how far to run. I saw a small house in front of me. There's a dim light inside. Sometimes people laugh and talk. White blood cells go straight into the house. I saw it in that little cottage. There are 3 people fighting. On an old plank, sign a big 8, surrounded by a pile of rusted copper coins. Young man, come here. See gambling without entering. I am guilty of heaven and earth. 3 people saw Batch and suddenly burst into the house. I'm not surprised or complaining. All smiles brought him to play. Gamblers are like that. Little people are not happy. As much as possible. You can win a lot of money. Guys, there was a ghost. Then the white cells trembled. Tell the story to 3 people. There was an old man with a long beard. He pointed to the person in charge with a smile. It was a time of Pacific Rim like this. Where is the devil? It must be a young man with eyes. If there are real ghosts, it's also the shaker who's playing the trick. The shaking man replied, "Hey, don't be kidding. This is public gambling. Don't eat, don't cut the cup, don't talk nonsense." You guys are laughing. It makes the white face flushed. I thought maybe I really had eyes. Gambling at school all day. Tired is so tired. There is no devil in this world. After peace of mind is restored, and together with all 3 of the little cottage gambling. Gamblers are all like that. When I saw the silver, my feet grew roots. Don't tell me you were threatened. Even if someone runs into the newspaper, I believe a family member died, I would have to gamble on a game just returned, because the dead are dead. I don't know about this silver screen. I hope it's always here next. Excuse me, how much is this one? White cells sit down and ask 3 people. There's no limit to how much there is. Every $30 winner must come to the end. He shook a handful of coins on the table. Turn on the 8 big flowers and continue. Take turns doing things. One by one, you need to place a deposit, and you can't withdraw it. If you listen to that, the gambling blood forgot about earlier. 30 pieces of silver in the corner of the table, with 3 other gamblers. This is a trick. It's a way of playing from the can period. It's easy to lose, easy to win. Gambling equipment is also quite simple, popular. Just a table on which draw 4 doors, A to be A4. Arbitrarily good prize. Money as soldiers. Use a jar or turn it upside down. Then the person in charge will shake the opener. Use a bamboo stick to divide the money into groups. It's called a fling. Finally, the remaining odd number is the number of doors the player bets on. You can bet on 2 adjacent doors at the same time. Feng with simple instrument. This easy way of playing used to be popular for a while. Win and lose quickly. It's a game. Are extremely popular with thirsty gamblers. Luck of white cells. He seemed threatened to run away. Within a watch, now the 30 pieces of silver on the table. Only the last one left. White cells clench the last silver coin in the palm of your hand. Staring at the 8 big flowers on the table, the mind is dizzy. I can't believe I lost so badly. Just as he was about to throw the coin a door for. Then suddenly the wrist is held back. White blood cells raise their heads. He looked immediately startled. That's the grey-haired old man we met at the end of the alley. He's gripping the white cell's arm. About the white eyes, it's with white cells. This coin is thrown down. Then your life is ruined. Midnight gambling with ghosts. Your liver is really big. The white-haired old man lies down and grabs white cell's arm. Use your strength to pull it up. White blood cells feel like they're shivering, suddenly awake again. I saw the white-haired man with 2 white eyes. That's the 10th vendor at the end of the alley. I'm so scared right now that my whole body is shaking. Close your eyes and ask for forgiveness. He sat on the table in a hurry. Oh, 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 oh. I am with you for no reason. Gambling is all my money. I've never done anything bad before. Please, Dan, ask me to change my life. You are so stupid. Open your eyes, look around. The white-haired old man said to Ra. He sat down in a deserted tomb beside him. White blood cells, trembling, open eyes, out. I found 3 people playing with me. I soon saw no shadow, and I'm lying on a heavenly plank. At this time, the 8 big flowers used to style Tay turned into a human skull. The rusty Kirhan coins, it's just a long shadow filled with earth. The cottage before, and it's a big willow. At the bottom there are 3 tombs. Please ask your eyes. At this point, Bach says he doesn't understand what happened. He looked slowly at the white-haired man, stared by those white eyes, so that my whole body trembled. That ask, I'm blind, these eyes are mine. I saw a ghost at night threatening him. The blind chapter just pulled out weeds on the grave. Just used grass roots to pick, Tai continued. At the end of the road I asked you to be careful. I go out at night and see ghosts. You didn't listen to me. Come here and gamble with them. You have to know that all 3 of them are dead. Looking for someone to get pregnant. The $30 they put down wasn't just a bet. It's your 35 years. You only have 1 year left to live. White cells here. The scalp is long, numb. The back is cold. I can't believe I'm gambling with all the wrong souls. Late at night, now there's only 5 years of life left. What to do now? White cells, sea fog, despite the ugly appearance. But the words seem to be sublime. You have to bet a lot anyway. He immediately knelt on the ground and prayed for forgiveness. Please, Master, save my life. Please, Master, save my life. You haven't even saved your life. Go home and eat well and drink. End of this last year. Let's go home, don't bother me. Blind chapter throws grassroots aside. From inside the chest hook, Ra and ROI Ra, a whip in the air. ROI echoes in the dark, plus the cold wind blowing through the empty tombs. It makes people feel numb all the time, sweating out. White cells have heard people say before, are people who ride their chariots through the night, often dip ROI Ra into chicken blood. Chicken, blood of oxygen. Its blood also has an exorcism effect. Every time I get lost at night, they're going to throw ROI into the air, whether there is a demon or not. It is also considered a sugar. Some people say that this is a wake-up ROI. Let the drivers remind themselves, don't get sleepy, because this ROI is evil. So people call it the ghost threat, ROI. Why haven't you left yet? The blind man saw white cells standing behind him. A curious face. The ROI points to the white cell. Ask out loud. At this point, Bach said he was in a hurry to leave. I heard the fog scream again. Don't move. You can't get down if you raise your foot. White blood cells, stem limbs. I don't know what to do. Hurry to ask why. Want to enter someone else? You need to find someone a little better. This young man, I have been threatened by you. Your legs are still shaking. You borrowed his body. I'm afraid it's in vain. The eyes of the white blind chapter do not see your child. I don't know where he's looking. White blood cells feel like there's a cold wind patting my shoulder. I heard the blind say that. My head wants to explode. I can't help but look back. But I dare not. Keep your eyes closed and your feet trembling. 7. Stand still. It feels like someone is pressing on your shoulder. It's too heavy to breathe. The proverb says it. People with sugar, ghosts with sugar. You guys, that's 29 years of this young man's life. You want to put people to death. The blind chapter laughed and said, to be honest, Life and death, it shouldn't have anything to do with me. But how many years have we displayed this scaffold? I also want to find a friend to help me. He's trapped you because of his passion for gambling. Loss of life for you. Consider it his reaction. Only if you respect my face. I'll burn some money for you to spend. Make it look like this is over. What do you see? 2. Shroud, pillow shroud, each third set horse, paper pair, 3 temples to 3 incense sets. Want to ask for more? I can only give it to you. Just one more yellow brick. White cells understand that. It's a blind chapter dealing with all 3 ghosts. Behind my back. I can't believe that my life, it's worth a few things like that. I am afraid of the 3 ghosts, crying to say more. And that kid comes to Tet. Tet Than Min. I'll burn the votive. I'll light a lantern for you too, please. Tantalizing frown, yelling white cells. Don't you talk nonsense. And out of his pocket came a piece of paper gold. Hold it in your hand. How to? The weight of this gold is no joke. Do you want to try it? That's right. The devil must be afraid of people. The blind man finished, threw the gold in the air. White cells just feel the cold wind behind them. Suddenly stopped. The weight on his shoulders was gone and his whole body was relieved. His intuition told him that the 3 ghosts were gone. Then fog from inside chest. Take out BA compressed incense. Touch the grave with your hands. Plug for each grave a compressed vow. You seem to know that. If you're buried by yellow brick, the soul will be imprisoned here forever. You also seem to know that. If you were buried by my yellow brick, the soul will be imprisoned here forever. 29 years of life you have. I'm afraid there is no blessing. I punish a little. I will not give you a taste of suffering. Finished speaking, took out something from the chest, white as wheat flour. Sprinkle 3 uninhabited tombs into a circle. At this time Bach said, not as stressed as before. He took all the courage to ask, Master, what is this? Right now, white cells, not as stressed as before. He took all the courage to ask, Master, what is this? This is black dog bone powder. Use this to display the grave ring. It can make them unable to get out. You can hurt people. In this thing, white cells, this blind cosmetic, we've just negotiated with all 3 Kia ghosts. Agreed to burn the vote of vestments in return. Why change your mind now? Sage continued. This is not a trick or a trick. This trick is called a ghost trick. Blind chapter not to get to white cells. He bent over and picked up the gold bar, 1 for each grave. Leave a mark on the gold bar, then say, You've never heard of the devil lying. What time? You can hear the ghost speaking. White cells ask, Oh so, you thought I was talking to myself. Why am I being crazy? Let me tell you, Bia, this ghost is playing, deceiving the lives of passers-by. If you hadn't lured them to the grave, I'm afraid you just lifted your foot. They've been infiltrated by them, and this ghost is unsealed. It will hurt others too. Master, who are you after all? Let me tell you, we live by the sound. display charging ghosts buying and selling items, young time. The blind man finished. He took out a white cloth, a meter long, 2 hands gripping 2 heads spread out in front, then spit a sip of saliva on top. Talk with your hands. THROUGH hours carved southwest silence. Quiet wind is not quiet. I'm afraid something strange will happen. Then mist tidied up the white cloth. Gold bars and black dog skeletons, again holding ROI, threatening ghost, turn people away. Line. The cells see around the thick, eerie air. I thought I only had 1 year left. In the heart is not committed to follow. Chapter Lake Q Shin. Master, master, your life has been cheated by them. Now we have to do so to reclaim. Now. If you bet you lose. That's God. There's no way this will help. Go home and enjoy the rest of your life. Blinking his white eyes. In this pitch-dark night, I can see the road clearly, walking very quickly, not inferior to ordinary people. Master, I know you are a noble man. You can see ghosts are different from ordinary people. Please, please save my life. My ancestors were the people who sold diphtheria. It's a huge family tree. I am alone in my life. It's absolutely impossible to be perfect. White cells kneeling on the ground crying. You are a cowboy. The blind man suddenly stopped to ask, that's right, you're afraid to touch it. I am ashamed of my ancestors. This braid of mine hasn't been cut yet. Bach told me to take off my hat, open the bun on the head, to take a big braid to the hand of the blind. What do you regret? The state government is so unpopular. This braid is the best cut. If you cut me, I will save your life. To touch the white hair. His face suddenly became a cold base to say, yes, but master, this braid is absolutely unbreakable. If you cut it, later, when I die, what face is there to bow down to the ancestors? Don't tell me I've got 1 year left, even if you die tomorrow. I have to carry this braid with me. You can't cut it, master. White cells from birth until now. The braid is always on the head. He never thought about cutting his hair. Your head off her. If this braid is lost, it is considered to be lost. This is a great sin. Silently praise Bach the Wise. I can't believe I didn't think of this. Then he cleared his voice to the executioner. Yeah, that's okay. According to my calculations, I will return. I will find you a beautiful person and burn you, that you may have a companion in the underworld to take care of you. But the marriage thing is too complicated. Trouble? If you can find a chicken. Haha, try you a little. I'm afraid it will take 5 years. Until then, you're not waiting. I've lost all my life. The executioner could have a good laugh and talk. The blind chapter says, afraid there will be no evidence later. So we have to make paper. Then take out a yellow paper. Then tell the executioner to write the words on it. Once it's done, this is done. There's also a bit of filial piety, of course. The executioner's soul flew back to wait for news. The remaining 2 students packed their papers. Then go back to space to throw a piece of blood dumpling. Not long after, the big black dog ran back. Take the 2 students back to Earth. 2 people go through the mountains. In the middle of the mountains, Bach said this is not the road. When he came, he asked John, all right, I'll teach you one way. Master, I think we're going the wrong way. I've never seen this road before. It's not wrong. Hell is. There is no way back. Let's just follow this sound dog. You can return to the world with peace of mind. 7 cells nod off, followed by no sleep. On the way, we talked a lot about sound. Blind chapter seems to want to accept white cells as disciples. If you succeed, you can extend your life, so it's something to be careful about. On the way, they were very careful. White cells also remember it in the heart. People often say, to go to hell is to die. White blood cells. We went with the blind chapter to hell. It seems to have died once. The further away you go from being a demon, his liver is much bigger. The blind man changed his smile and said, "Oh, how did you do that? To feel this world I've never seen." Makes him excited and curious. This change is even more unpredictable. The gambling is also more stimulating. "Oh, master, why are you doing this again, Batch?" she asked. "Yes, all professions exist, because there is a need. The living, the dead, yin-yang separate. Of course, there will be jobs like ours, but this is a bit difficult, but not blind. But every day, I also roamed the streets, big and small. I've heard about everything, but never heard of. There's never been a sound. There are many strange things in this world. There are many things you don't know. For example, there are unrighteous priests. They even borrowed the bodies of the dead to prepare for the exam. See if you have the courage or not. How to prepare for exams. The lake was talking when it suddenly stopped. It's like seeing something. Press the white cells to the ground. Shut his mouth and keep his voice down. I don't care. When the blind man was talking, he suddenly stopped. It's like seeing something. Press the white to the ground. Keep your mouth shut and keep your voice down. First you go and catch a black crow for me. Silence is spoken. White cells lie on the ground. I don't understand what's going on. I just heard a cry. And then there's a faint bell ringing in the distance. White blood cell focus. I saw an old woman in white, curling up a paper lantern. Slowly come to look like the devil. Crying like a child is terrifying. Don't have a hair. The way she walks is very strange. She reached out in front, very long. Take a step, stop a step, nod, and then keep moving forward. Step 1, step stop, 1 step nod. Until that goes to the side of the white cell. White blood cells, rolling eyes and body in a cold sweat. This old woman has a yellow face and a lethargic look. There is a lipstick in the middle of the forehead. White hair in a round tuft on the back of the head. White whites, then hook its eyes out, swallowing. Thin and dry figure, wearing a white temp shirt. Under green baggy pants. Barefoot on the ground, leaving Y-shaped footprints. This old woman's legs are 2 chicken legs. At this moment, the big black dog suddenly came running, licking the hands of white cells. Please eat blood dumplings. The color of the white cells' faces became cloudy. The old lady seemed to have noticed them, turned his yellow face towards them. You can see the devil at night. I blinked my eyes and suddenly laughed. You were doing something. White blood cells are so scared that they shoot people. His mouth was blocked by Jong Blind, who did not make a sound. The big black dog next door looked at the old lady, suddenly screamed bitterly and ran away. The old woman stared at the White House for a moment, then say, "If you're full, go away." It's like not seeing 2 teachers. Everyone after death. And then carry the dimly lit paper lantern. Keep moving forward and whistling. Daylight and dark hours. Chicken for people to drink awake. Wake up and drink it all. It only makes the ghost stiff. Even hurt loved ghosts. Disease. The sweat on the back of the white cells was soaked. Paper temp set. Body is freezing cold. There's a choking airflow in the throat, glaring eyes. Until the old lady went away, she breathed a sigh of relief. Was going to ask the blind chapter, only heard the blind chapter speak. It's broken. It's broken. This is the smart devil in charge of the clock. The bell just rang. That way the rooster in the ocean will wake up. Chicken crows. Why? White cells are difficult to understand. Cock crow at the hour. It shows that we've been procrastinating too much. It's called the devil's relic. The time has come. If it's morning and you still can't go back to earth, then our soul, you will not be able to return to your body. The blind man spoke with a serious expression. So we have to do something now. White cells are surprised to ask. White cell saw that his dog was threatened to run away. The chicken is ringing the bell. I'm going to tell the time. After becoming a ghost, the hour is coming. If you slow down half a step, the soul will not return. Body. The world will not accept that the grave does not hold. There was only a ghost left. Even hell can't report the cause and effect. It's not a lifetime of wandering demons or because the name Kia, executioner, is a waste of time. I never saw the chicken again. This time down the road is bad luck. Then this choking air, blindly throwing the remaining blood dumpling in your hand. Go to the ground and complain. The chicken is gone. If you don't chase me, I'm afraid you won't be in time. But now my legs are tied by an iron chain. Running is really inconvenient. White cells put hand-lifting iron chain lock on leg. A worried face to say, this red string in hell will turn into a chain. Very light soul. It's under the ghost's tongue. Don't use this iron chain. The soul will soar through the air. Even if you take off the chain of this soul, I can't catch up. Where is it? The blind say. Why is that? I saw it take a step and then stop, doing so without catching up. This chicken is the devil of the hour. Think about how to smoke this relic. Don't see it go so slowly. 1 step of it is equal to 10 steps of ours. It's really bad luck today. Are still healing, gambling, loss of life. Follow him down to the grave here. White cells sitting on the ground. Regret. Because I agreed to go down with the blind. Because you want to increase your life expectancy, you have to lose your life early. The blind chapter looked up at the sky. To be able to extend life. Finger press calculated once. Then asked the white cells, do you still have coins on you? SAO currency. White cells from the inside out. Take out the last one. That say, this is the last year of my life. You want to take it now? The blind man smiled and said, there's still time. Ask the ocean. Now is the time for a crown. Yin and Yang are bountiful. I want to use magic. I hope I can borrow the power of the devil to take us back to earth. White cells hear the joy. Give money to the blind chapter. I saw him stick a stick in the hole in the coin. Stand up in front of you and take out 3 yellow talismans around the coin in a circle. To do so, according to the 7 crystals, form a battle. White blood cells do not understand the meaning of this. Ask. You're going to set up a magic practice group here. There's not that much magic in you. It's just a battle. This technique is called the 5 demons. We're going to lie down on the ground. Don't move. I will summon 5 demons to carry. We chase the chicken. I hope I can get back to the people before him. How much life can we add? Amazing white cells. I can't believe that blind people have this trick. Using copper coins as bait. Summon 5 demons to carry the coffin. Borrow the power of the devil to chase the hens. I just don't know what it feels like to be carried by the devil. At this point, the blind chapter is finished, sitting on the table. Then close your eyes and recite the mantra. Immediately, the wind blows hard, dry leaves. The dust flies blind. When the white cells heard it, they hurriedly asked, around the thick fog that couldn't see the direction. A moment after the recitation, then the blind fell on his face. Let's shout for an hour. White cells also lie on the ground, glancing at the eyes. I just saw 5 white-faced devils blow. Beat the drum, fly to. The devil blows the first blow, and the face is lipstick. Go in front of 2 people. How long can you take a breath? Bend over and take down the coin that's on the chopstick. Put on the belt, then pick up a yellow talisman from the ground. On it was written the direction and address by Zheng Meng. The devil ate it in his mouth. Then signal for the 4 demons behind. Take the 2 teachers. White cells feel. His shoulders and legs were lifted by 2 demons. It's like being carried by the wind. Human cell line. 2 students were carried by 4 demons on their shoulders. Lipstick devil takes up blow. The melody of the music that took temps. For demons follow the steps of the stagnant melody that runs. And now the white blood cells close their eyes and straighten their bodies. I hear the wind whistling by my ears. It feels like you're floating in the air. Floating. I feel so sleepy, about to fall asleep. Bite your tongue. I think people live a little. You've been infiltrated by these demons. Don't sleep, the fog screams. Tongue blood is the most positive blood in the body. The next person is blood in 10 fingers. Central Ocean. White blood cells carried by demons on their shoulders. The air goes through the clothes and into the soul. Now the face has turned white, purplish lips and tongue. When the blind called me, I woke up. It only lasts a few seconds at most. I feel cold, hands and feet breaking my body. Shoulders and feet are tied up by the devil. I was in a hurry to bite my tongue. A sip of hot color in his mouth. 2 demons carried on the lower part, laughing and running forward. White blood cells sprayed onto demons. The 2 demons called out, turned into a thick smoke that disappeared. Then it's an hour. Based on this way, white cells fall from the air to the ground. Turn your head. Then the blind man sat firmly on the ground. The 7 piles of black dog bone powder next to it burned to charcoal. The smoke is gone. This is where we go back to Earth. White blood cells feel severe pain throughout the body, struggling to stand up. The iron chain under my feet has turned into red wire. It seems that he has returned to the real world. How long does it take to increase life expectancy? The blind man slowly stood up, hand wiped the blood on the corner of his mouth. Apparently, he also bit his tongue. It's all white. These 5 demons are unscrupulous in seeing money as work. He already took our money and wanted to steal our soul. Fortunately, when I returned to Earth, I found out in time, otherwise regret not being in time. So now we're people or ghosts. White cells, lift up your legs. Then asked, I feel my whole body heavy. The tired man has no strength left. We have gone before the world, in front of the chicken, rest assured, to say. When I finished, I heard the sound of a rooster. White cells hear it. They laugh and say, fortunately recognized. Master's magic of borrowing demons is so powerful. Finally. Say that. Then we're back to the chicken. Trong, you feel the opposite discomfort. A hot air rises and coughs out a sip of fresh blood. White cells feel so horrible. I went to get him up and asked Han. Shaky Zheng stood up and said, we go down to the yin and yang trade. 5 demons carry this organ. It's also about dealing with clitoris. But it's very damaging. It's not a lot of demonic relics or add to that, before, where there's a lot of heavy air. The body is a little unbearable. I need to find a place to rest. When the white cells hear it, they say, then go home. My house has no master can come to my house and rest. The blind man finished listening. Well, join our faction. Do you think life expectancy is easy? Today, tomorrow, eat the wind. There is no fixed accommodation. It is also good to have a place to hide the sun. So the white man went blind to his house. It was already dark on the road, with few people passing by. Only people selling drugs, dong, and sweeping trash pretend to whistle. White cells afraid to meet someone who cuts braids. So take a detour around the main road. Find small ways home. If it's that easy. Blindfolded into the dirt bed, then asked, Master, my family doesn't come to play. Well, you can stay here and rest. When he saw the good white cells, he said, You have come down with me as my disciple. Wait for me to get well and officially accept you as my disciple. Do you agree? Of course, it is good to be a teacher's disciple. I'm afraid my life is about to end. Let the master accept only short-lived disciples. I'm not that old. White cells agree to go down the yin and the monk, just because I want to extend my life. But he didn't make it clear for the blind chapter. After you worship me as a teacher, I will teach you how to live longer. It doesn't matter. It's only when you join my faction. Then you need to win the lottery. The poor girl alone chooses one of these three. Poverty is a lifetime of poverty and sudden death. Blind bank. Loneliness is a lifetime of loneliness. Do you agree or not? White cell, cosmetic, 3 of these things, none of them are lucky. It is better to suffer than die young. The dying can save their lives. It's been very lucky, no matter how poor or lonely. He agreed and asked again. I don't know what master helped them with before, instead of just my white hair. Sleeping in the afternoon talking about this. Don't worry, I've gone down to this age. Yin and Yang are no less German. Even if you die suddenly, there is no regret. The blind chapter is over. The white cells bowed their heads and said nothing. Out of the pocket came the paper that the executioner wrote in the underworld. Give it to him. White cells think they're just a normal person. You bring this paper home now. Jiangguang town in the east of the city. Tell her what the Kia executioner asked for. Let her rest assured. This descent is considered complete. White cells took the yellow paper and looked down. There's not a word on it. Frowning. Master, yes, I saw the Kia executioner write with his own blood. How about a blank piece of paper like this? How can I get what's under the ghost's tongue? How can you look at the devil's clothes? Tell her to put it away. If she asks, ask her to heat a kettle, pour out half. Then add half of the cold water, mixed into yin-yang water. Just water it on this yellow paper and you can see it. The blind say, White cells put the yellow paper in their chest. Stand up and boil a kettle of water for the fog. This is not going to die or sow. I found half a pack of tea in the house. Finished in front of the bed. Cover the blanket for the fog. Finished hurriedly. Wash your face. Turn around. Get out of the house and go east. On the way, the White House is very heavy. Since that underworld with the blind chapter last night, then he knows. There are so many strange things in this world. Every day, we play for pleasure. After death, this way of saying Ra is no different than not saying. There's a completely different world like that. But think again. This blind chapter is not ordinary. If only I could borrow his help. I'm afraid it doesn't matter. But how do we start? I thought for a moment and changed my laughter. Master, you said you wanted to take me as a disciple. Is that really true? Is it real? But only if you dare to speak with me. I will accept you as my disciple. Blind, step forward. When you meet a rough spot, jump over. Her wild white eyes flashed a strange light in the dark. White cells clinging to the back, fear of reduction. If you slow down by half a step, you will not keep up with this nobleman. Down sound sour white cells curiously ask. Right down to the negative is to go to the underworld. Fog saw white cells look amazing. The color of the face becomes pale and comforting. Whenever it comes to the full moon in the 7th month of the lunar calendar, it's Pluto's day. The devil's door opened. The devil returns to Earth to visit relatives and friends. Some people practice Buddhism. Religion will multiply this route, based on the magic of traveling to the underworld, looking for someone to deliver words. But we're the ones who go down. There's no time limit. Yin-Yang to gender travel arbitrarily. That's the difference between us and those other practitioners. If you go to hell, you can go back. White blood cells inquired. Of course. Of course, ordinary people can't. You have to go. But we can be articulate. That said, the master has such powerful magic power. How to say it? You have to know that there are countless people in the world. What is Mao Shan art? The art of love, magic, and so on, and clouds fly. It's only down to our sound that we're unique, is different from others. Someone asked me to go down today. Or need someone to accompany you. If you dare to take a trip with me, I will accept you as my disciple. I will send you down to the sound. After that, you will cast out demons. We can also protect the peace of the world. White blood cells bend the contemplative. Protect peace for the world. I'm afraid I can't do it. I just hope I can get my life back. A few more years is good. I'm afraid this old man is fooling me. Joe clearly thinks so, white cells ask. But why did you choose me? Blind chapter laughed, pointing to his eyes, said, Look at these eyes of mine. They call us the blind chapter. I thought I was really blind. In fact, these eyes are called copper-eyed demons. You can see the lives of others. Life expectancy is divided into 2 categories. One kind is positive, one kind is negative. Life is the life of the ocean. And sound is the recorded life of the grave. Today, I see your life. There's only 1 year left. Doesn't match the sound. I knew you were going to have something bad, so you predicted it. I'm going to gamble with all 3 Kia Sal ghosts. White blood cells vaguely feel like there's a rope, and tonight, tied my fate to this blind chapter. More. The blind can see the lives of others. This makes the white cells shiver. As the saying goes, the power of man has a destiny that is hard to avoid. I have revealed heaven to you before. You didn't listen to me. It is now considered as fate has arranged for you to go down with me. This is your destiny. White cells hear that, pumpkin disdain. It's also called fate or Sao. If you don't see it with your own eyes, I can only believe that in this world, there is such a thing. Going to hell is not a good thing. Hell is not an easy place to go. It's come to this country. You yourself are not out there. Naughty, not out naughty. Home, not home. Living lay expensive. Just hope to follow him. Reclaim your life and continue. First of all, make a bet. If you win, you get your life back. So where do we go now? Let's see. It's time to go to hell now. So your stall at the top of the alley doesn't need any more or so. White cell memory. He still has a tent stool at the end of the alley. Now, I want to go down to the sound. Then the Kia stand is left unattended. I feel lost and curious to ask. I had a little luck today. I sold them some incendiary stuff. The rest of it can't be left overnight. When you finish the night, you burn. The rest just burn for the wrong demon to facilitate. It's like paying taxes in Italy. White cells, here it is amazing, not only aesthetic. You're funny. It is said that the high priest is honored. The devil is more than that. It turns out that yin and yang are all benefiting. Then, Fog took out of his sleeve a red rope. Batch is tied to both ankles. Then tell him, remember my words carefully. The left foot is yin and the right foot is yang. When it goes down, follow me. Follow in my footsteps. Don't take a quick step and break that rope. White cell bent person, jerking red rope length, BA yards. Feel loosely tied, not be sure. Think if your feet are not steady. One of them is broken. I'm going to tie it up with my hands. I heard the blind scream. Hey, what are you doing? If you put the head of the rope on your leg, you can't tie the dead knot. That's unlucky. The cell line immediately stops. He bent his head and looked at the surgery. He shook his hands in front of him. I don't know if this old man actually operated or pretend to operate. He knows what he does. It's as if he could see it. Blind right now. From inside Ra's chest, a pack of black dog bone powder. Give White Cell. Tell him to drop it on the ground, according to the location of Sao northern poison in the sky. Then press your finger to calculate. Tonight Sao Lam refers to the northern yin market. Sprinkle in the northwest. White cells, do as the blind chapter says. Look at the position of the stars. Sprinkle 7 small piles of black dog bone powder on the ground. Then return the duffel bag to your partner. Blind chapter from inside out. Take out 2 packets of paper, 1 pack per person. The recognition is the guru is like a magician. You need something to have that talent. White cells are amazing. Take this. This is a blood dumpling. When it goes down, there will be a black dog. He barks. You break a piece and throw it to him. On the way, you have to throw him 7 pieces. Remember not to feed it first. And don't leave any more blood dumplings. White cells open the paper package. Ra looked closely. It's a bloody hot dumpling, of course. It smells of blood. He was so scared that he hurriedly packed the blood dumplings. My heart pounding silently, thinking, this bloody cheetah is scary. What dog eats? Even more if you miss your hand. If you are not careful, break a few pieces. The smell is completely predictable. Thoughts of White Cell. pointing to the black dog bone powder on the ground. Soon there will be a guide dog. The dumplings were dipped in chicken blood. This negative dog will think of it as an organ to eat. And don't look at the blood dumpling in my hand. This is what we use when we go back to Earth. What is in your hand must be kept. If we piss him off, we can't go back. Who remembers? The date of his birth is recorded in the... If someone asks, give it to them. Blind chapter gives white cells a yellow paper. It's written in red, CHUSA. To what 5 months be a day 24? Oh, but... I don't understand. Why is this man asking us to go down to him? White cells are hard to understand. Blind chapter tied the red cord to his leg. Get ROI threatening ghost RA just touched the grain and mused. You know, the executioner. So, executioner. When Batch's father said he was alive, he took him to see the beheading. There was always a beheading. It's going to attract hundreds of thousands of people. It's like going to the market. It's very exciting. Memory cell line. Then the criminal seems guilty of murdering the king. He was executed immediately. In the autumn of that year, they opened the door. Good things wait until the afternoon. Read the indictment. And then the big bring criminals to the law school. Take off that person's clothes. Put some drugs in your mouth. Then cut a piece of meat from the criminal's chest. Throw it into the sky. It's called a sacrifice. The second knife strikes the criminal in the forehead. Peeling the skin down over the eyes is called eye covering. The criminal was subjected to 360 knife blows. The executioner covered the bar with a fishing tongue. Let the meat come out of the net, and then use a sharp knife to cut the meat. The cut meat looks like fish scales. Every time I cut down a piece of meat, the government will report down the knife with the hole. 360 knife strokes finished, then the criminal is lured only to death. The cruel and cold of the executioner, it makes white cells shiver. This has left a deep ghost in the white soul boy's lap. You ask me to go down this sound? That's old lady Zhong Wangxi in the east of the city. Years ago, Trong Vuong Thi's husband was an enemy in Dragon Mountain, burning down the house of an innocent murderer. Then he was caught alive in the market. Trong Vuong town. That night I asked someone to find me. He paid a lot of money, just begging. He slashed her husband to death. Domination monster, this executioner. After receiving the money, we went out for a drink that night. The next day, the hands are no longer strong. Three times to cut off the head. My blood is pouring down. King Jong is depressed. I was looking for someone to file a lawsuit. He said he slashed 3 more times. That's the equivalent of killing her husband 3 times. According to Chinese law, this executioner was also executed. Why does the story sound so boring? I can't believe the executioner lost his life so unjustly. He took his life to pay for it. This is done. What do we have to go down to the sound? White cells heard that strange and asked again. The blind man told Batch to listen carefully. Laughing and laughing. The name of this government died unjustly. The soul carrying the air is not scattered. At night, Cho Wong, she said, that I died unjustly. The spirit of silver without a refuge. You must pay for my life. Then, this Zheng Wang. I have a strange disease. The whole body is like a knife. Flesh sores fall off. I looked for all the doctors in the city. I finally thought about it. Maybe it's the soul of the executioner who's harassing you. Then he came to me with the help of his master to solve this problem. After listening to the cell, fill out the exclamation. There is a proverb that says good and evil. That's right, it's hard to tell. When will the false news end? I just want it to be small. Let the dead escape, people who live in peace. Oh Master, if you take a trip, you will get money. White blood cells think down sounds so dangerous. If you lose your life, do it. Everything has its price. This blind chapter cannot enter. For no reason to live in silence. Those who live in the negative will surely pay their fair share. I laughed and asked the chapter. Money, of course, but not after the sound. You have to go down to the sound, replied the blind. White cells are glad to hear that. Now he doesn't have much life. If along with this whole blind chapter live a negative trip, you can't just earn a little silver. It's also possible to increase life expectancy with his help. It's not a waste of a bet. What's the point of living for? Master, what are we waiting for? Go down to hell now. White fever cells say. Blind chapter puts blood dumplings on the ground. Take out 2 banknotes. Draw half a circle on the ground, leaving a void in the northwest. Use the handle to burn. Then take out 2 sets of paper clothes from the inside. A grey set, let him put it on. Give the rest to the white cells. Is a set of Snow White. Put on this tang suit. It's time to go. Cell line, pick up paper suit. When you open it, you see that this dress is very skillfully painted. Collar, carefully glued sleeves. The chest also writes a really big devil. This is the word that can be read in the West. White cells feel living people dressed in dead clothes are unlucky. Then muttered, I'm not dead and I'm dressed like this. It's like tasting the taste of death first. What are you muttering? If you don't pretend to be the devil, how can we get to hell? And then the surgeon uses a lighter to light up the black dog skeleton. The thick smoke rose. Pull white blood cells into a pile of powder. Black dog bones sprinkled according to location. Take off your shoes. 1 upside down, 1 just short. Then it's with white cells. The dog is coming. Close your eyes. Wake up soon and don't panic. Remember what I said, don't do it. 7 cells, dressed temps, finished school according to the posture of the blind chapter. Close your eyes and lie down. But I can't sleep by the way. I just felt 7 piles of smoke on the side. The cold wind blowing through my head was horribly numb. The blood dumplings are still in the hot chest, makes the chest warm. Because the eyes are heavy. It doesn't open up. The sleep finally came. Swiping. Suddenly white cells feel the soles of their feet getting wet. It's like stepping on water. Slowly open your eyes. I saw a big black dog lying there, under my feet. Sticking out his tongue, licking the soles of his feet. White cells, startled, woke up, sat up. He discovered his 2 legs, locked by a big iron chain. It's like a leg cuff. Bow your head and look back. I found myself wearing a snow white temp suit, not out of fear. So afraid that the whole body trembled. The big black dog saw Batch wake up. Fangs raw ferociously. He barked towards Batch for an hour. White cells are too tightly chained. My feet can't struggle. Too scared to rush back. I heard the blind next to me screaming. Your dog barked and threw him a bloody dumpling. White blood cells understand. Take out a pack of paper from your chest. Break a piece of blood dumpling thrown over. The big black dog rushed to grab a piece of devoured. It's like chewing raw blood. Eat so much that the whiskers are covered in blood. The previous violence immediately disappeared. Bowing his head, wagging his tail, smelling around White Cell's body. 7 cells look around. 7 piles of black dog bone powder burned to ashes. It's still smoking green. A pair of shoes on the ground, upside down, and just still the same as before. He asked the blind in a low voice, "Master, this is mostly soaked." Fog nods and says, "Let's go." After that, take out the ghost threat ROI. Lie down and grab ROI's tail and wave it hard. ROI Ra whipped into the air with a popping sound. The black dog was so scared that he shot himself. Bend the tail clamp, run forward. White cells go follow the grave, chasing the running black dog. The iron chain at the bottom of the leg looks like it weighs a few pounds, but when it's unusually light, white cells understand that. The iron chain that's locked on my leg, that's the red line before that the big black dog walked the rough, muddy road. Sometimes we walk through the forest, and sometimes we jump across the stream. White cells down for the first time. Although I have escaped from the body-soul travel, but I also feel tired. But I dare not fall behind. I tried to bite my teeth and stick to the blind chapter. You too, just like that. Follow the sound dog and go and stop. Until you meet a arch bridge. The white cell fed the dog about 5 times. The sound dog in front of the bridge stopped. I turned my head and stared at 2 white people. White cells see this big black dog stop. If not, ask the grave in a low voice. "Master, this dog is not coming. Keep it small. This sonic dog seems to have smelled something. I am afraid that on this bridge there are people from hell." Question, soul. First, you keep chewing this piece of strawberry leaf in your mouth to hide the breath. The living 7 cells see the face of the blind chapter become serious. I feel a little insecure. Take the strawberry leaves and put them in your mouth. Chewable top copy. Concentrated strawberry leaf water seeps into the mouth cavity. Not too sour. In the blink of an eye, tears flow out. White cells feel every cold wind blowing through. Looking up at the bridge, I saw 2 people flying towards me. The person in front is over 8 meters tall, wearing a dark red shirt with a white face. The flag leads the soul forward. The person behind me has hair and a red face, wearing a black gown with baby hair. The cloak was too long on the ground. These 2 guys keep walking and they stop. Take 5 steps and rest. The eyes look straight ahead. He came down from the arch bridge and ran into 2 blind men, white cells. The man with the flag turned his head and looked at them until when sound time comes. Why does it come to the end of life? This dead woman asked 2 unblind questions and answered 2. It's like checking. Make the white cell next to you. The whole body feels unnatural. The devil's face changed a little red. I can't even look at the 2 of them. If you keep your head down, your legs will shiver. A little bit behind the back of the fog, the name of the low earth Kia crystal eyes spoke, asked in a hoarse voice. Horse. The guy behind you came here. Gambling that loses and eat poison that comes. The blind man pointed his hand towards Batch. The pink face is still red. Sao is dead. The underworld Kia saw Batch's face flushed red. If you don't feel right, ask. White cells heard immediately, afraid of the soul. He pulled the blind man's shirt. The blind man calmly laughed. Well, he didn't die long ago. The oxygen hasn't dissolved yet. Then he turned around and told the white man, "Open your mouth and show them." When the white cells finished listening, they opened their mouths and swore their tongues. The gums and tongue are both blue. The water of the strawberry leaves has died, the tongue blue. It looks real. It's like the guy who drank the blue poison. To hell men approach the sniffer. It doesn't smell like a living person. Believe the words of the blind chapter. They looked at each other and asked the blind man, "Why are you two together again?" The way down to the dark underworld. Find a partner for fear. Fog makes up stories. White cells standing next to fear. These two underworld guys look out the window. I was so scared that I broke out in a cold sweat. VA gasoline into each other. The black dog under the bridge couldn't stand it anymore. Bark continuously for 2 hours. White blood cells rush to break the dumpling in half and throw it down. This scene was seen by 2 men from the underworld, frown furiously and say, "They only reward dogs on the way to hell," without knowing how to reward someone else, usually so. White cells keep people thinking. I'm feeding my dog. What to do with you? Why are you naturally so angry? The blind man laughed and said, "Well, don't blame him. He's stupid. I don't understand. You too, don't blame me." Then take out 2 stacks of money, shoved it into the shirt of 2 underworld men, laughing and talking. Well, it's not time to go out. The family burned the toll. Fear of the unfavorable way of life in hell. So there's only so much left for customs clearance. 2 great men received for creating conditions for us. Two negative names received cash change immediately. He handed the blind a passport. White cells look at the backs of the 2 Kia. It's gone. What a coward, they burn for the dead. It turns out that this road down to hell is paved with money. The blind man finished listening. I said, "I originally planned to use this money to bribe Cho Rong at the devil organ discipline, but I can't believe it was stolen by 2 Kia. Fortunately, these 2 hulks gave their passports. Then it's much more convenient. Let's go." In the Guru, who are those 2? You just need a passport. It's possible through a... Why does it have such great power? That impermanent black and white. The blind chapter clapped on the shoulder of the white cell continued. These 2 are just praying for souls. Capture the unfaithful gods. The books of the underworld already have names on them. Back and forth to the underworld. Black and white are impermanent. It's always impermanent. Amazing white cells. Ever since I was a kid, I've heard about the black and white impermanence. I didn't expect to see you again today. There is still fear in my heart to turn around. Turn around and find your dog. I don't see the shadow of your dog anymore. Hurry up, master. The dog doesn't know where it's going. Let's just let that sound dog go. Across the Naihar Bridge is to the entrance to the capital city. We'll find our own way there, wait for it to go, and call it later. The blind man carefully stored his passport that the 2 underworld gave Cho. Calm down. Back on the bridge. White cells see. This bridge is paved with blue tiles. Under the dark bridge, there seems to be blue smoke. There's a thick fog. I just heard the water rushing. Then every cold wind blew over me. Cold to the bone. Fresh fishy smell. The pain in the nose makes people sick. The 2 then walked quickly across the bridge. Go to an ancient gate. White cells see this gate. Blue brick, black brick. On the eaves are carved heads of monsters. Big red door lipstick A is burned with human bone plug. Seven souls flags full color, blue, red, purple, yellow, white, black 6. There are many demons in front of the door. On both sides of the gate, there are 2 large vertical stones. Lead sun wind. leaving traces of a quill engraved with a sentence. Up there is a big liver. Not on the road for you. Your grave has come down to you. Don't turn your back on the good things you didn't do. Hell makes you lose all humanity. There was a large sign hanging above the gate. It's got 7 big gold letters written on it. Feng, capital of the underworld demon, Mandarin. Under the city gate there is a green-faced devil. Uniform top, hairy cock. It's obviously the leader. I saw 2 white people standing in front of the devil. Go ahead and ask 2 people. You 2 are looking at what's there. My son has misunderstood. The 2 of us are dead. My soul is wandering down here. Please allow me. Let the 2 of us in. Waiting for the king to judge. To be reincarnated. Blind chapters down the sound, not just once or twice. These lies. Germany has already prepared some. What's the answer? It's just that we didn't mention the impermanent black, white, because now is not the time to get your passport. Don't fool me. Those who do evil in life are bound in chains. There is the devil. I don't see the devil. It is true that there is a devil. But halfway there, the devil goes the other way, told us to come here ourselves. Yes, but you go down to hell with your bare hands. No one in the house burns gold. So the body was thrown out into the wilderness. You didn't bring anything. If there are chickens and ducks that use drums or forever, fat or skinny pig, tail, just give it to me. Without it, this demon can't be opened. Go back to the dream for the family. Burn your money and go to the door. Otherwise, the devil roams the underworld. Then don't blame me. White cells see these 2. You say a word to me, a question, back and forth. The name Psychia deliberately makes it difficult. Don T let them into the city, not from gnashing teeth. I just want to slap the wrong guy. But this place is hell. Of course, I didn't dare to do it. I just sighed. You are. In fact, there are 3 times on the Yin and Yang road exploited. I haven't entered the door yet. It's been exploited twice. Now the blind chapter sees this false demon. Don't talk about reason. I had to get a passport that the impermanent black-white gives out. Tune in and laugh. Before black and white was impermanent. Give me this paper. It is said that meeting the wrong officials can create conditions for... The devil finished the paper. He changed his smiling face and said, originally, the blind chapter intended to keep this paper. If it goes down later, use it. I can't believe this demon is so clever. Have to take it out. I only regret the money. If you just give it to the wrong guy, I'm afraid there's still a lot to save. Recalculation is considered to be lost. Devil sigh realize passport, and he motioned for the good devils to guard the gate. Open the demon organ Ra. The big red door was turned around by the demons. Slowly open. The fog is thick in the city. The light of the flickering torch. Every cold wind blows out. It makes white cells shiver. Blind bank. And white blood cells give their date of birth. The devil didn't even check the door. White cells go, follow the blind into the city. In other words, the hell of the city. In the name of the devil, but rather a prison of demons. In the east there are 3 mountains. One of them is MT. He is a prisoner of death, waiting for judgment. And one is the mountain. It's like a prison. It is used to imprison demons to be tortured. And a mountain is the ocean, for demons who suffer enough, back to the people. In the west, there's a fence. It is the home of 18 Demon kings who rule the underworld. There are species below. The devil is as small as the impermanent black-white judge, bull's top kill code, the devil, and so on. A lot of them are in the west of this city. In the middle of the city, there's a statue in the temple in clay. 2 hands forced to sit on the yellow ground with blue clouds. A grim face that exuded majesty. It scares the devil. The ghost must be terrified. There are statues on both sides. The devil is lower than the main statue. It shows the religious divide. Under the statue there is a sleeping monster. Yellow fangs, blue face. I am like a tiger, like a lion. 2 horns don't know what. Master, what is this monster? White cells saw the monster close its eyes fast asleep. Snoring is like thunder. Make the underworld shake. You have oxygen on you. Don't wake it up. The lake pulled the white cells aside in a small voice. This temple is the temple of the Tibetan king Bodhisattva, and this monster is called the Emperor. Just listen for an hour. I know all the good and evil in the world. He can hear everything in the world, but the sense of smell is far worse, isn't it? White cells ask. What do you mean? That's how close we are to it. It doesn't smell us. Your mouth is small. Don't underestimate it. You must know that every full moon is a day. He's going to eat the moon. Bite off half the moon. So, the full moon night. It is the day of those who are against the sound. It's like us. Calendar and lunar calendar days difference. We go to the negative, according to the calendar. The day this monster ate the moon. It's when the lunar and solar calendars coincide. Absolutely not down to sound. I only heard about the moon eating, but did not expect. There's this monster eating the moon. White blood cells. The nosed monsters couldn't help but exclaim, "Stop doing more important things. Let's find the soul of the executioner." This is the blind chapter. It's like hearing the devil cry relentlessly. I know that these ghosts can't stand torture. It's like screaming, like hell. I know this place shouldn't be long. Immediately pull white cells to the hiding place. Take out a talisman from your chest to borrow the apricot fire. Mouth murmuring read you. Not long after. When you're done reading, tell your white blood cells that ghost is on the Pine Ocean Mountain waiting for the soul to return. I've used magic to summon him here. When he comes, he will call you Zheng Wang. No matter what it does, you have to stop. Wait for my advice to finish this. We'll be back soon. In the bowels of the white cells trembling. Think about coming here. I brought the date, the year of Zhang's birth. I hope this devil is in hell. Don't really consider yourself a traitor. But inactivity is the best. A moment later, a man with messy hair. My whole body was covered in blood from a distance. He glared at the white man. He was about to rush in when he was stopped by the fog. Wait, we're here to reconcile our past lives. Why didn't you listen to my advice? The debt has an owner. I obey orders to pursue punishment, and then she's accused by this woman. We are in hell suffering unspeakably. Now, I want that girl to taste that smell too. How is it? This man is the soul of the executioner. It's just now. Skin flaking meat, not raw. Human beings are not like the devil. White cells, he's full of blood. Dare not to look straight in the face. I hid behind the back of the blind chapter, listening to him. The world has the law of the world. Even though she sued you, it cost you your life. But that's not without reason. You took her bribe before, but you didn't do what you promised. This error, it's also impossible to completely blame her. You have suffered enough in hell. About to return to earth. I want to push people like that. I was beheaded in heaven and executed in hell. And the woman lived happily in the world. How can I swallow this anger? The executioner was angry. Now she's about to die. To hell is to be treated only, or get thrown in a cauldron right away. Let her suffer the same way. Why do you have to fight sooner or later? She asked me to come find you. I also want to clear your name for you. No more resentment. The Thai head changed. She even agreed to invite the Supreme Buddha for you. I'll burn the gold for you. First executioner. The blind man said that and calmed down a little. The face became hesitant. If you are blind, continue. When will the unscrupulous communication end? You have been punished in hell, just waiting for a good time. Let the Thai head change. If you don't stop, being discovered by the devil is even more sinful. The executioner's face changed after hearing it. Bow your head for a moment and then say, if that woman agrees with me on one thing, I will forgive her. If not, you can't get pregnant again, even turning into a demon. We also have to pull out her spines. Is that the thing? Not that I was never married when I was alive. There are no children. If she's going to do a ghost wedding for me, let my daughter marry me. I will enjoy all the pleasures of the world. Then I will forgive King Jong. Will not regret or hate that the Thai head changed. Aesthetic white cells. This guy's a hell of a guy. People are dead and married, but that yin-yang marriage thing, contrary to the moral law. My daughter is married to a ghost. You can't die and bury Chung Sao. Blind chapter, serious face. Angry, saying this executioner is absurd. This is against the moral law. It can be forced. Must know that if you marry negative, you need the jewels of the house's dowry. They are also paper exchanges. The house holding the relics of the dead worship heaven and earth, burned and buried in one place. If both sides are dead, it's easy. Just use the red string and bury Chung. It's hard to be a dead person and a living person. If you agree with me about that, there's no need to say much more. The governor was angry. White cells hear and think. This blind man can knit paper into money. Why don't you make a paperman paint your eyes and burn him? Let him give up the idea of marriage. Think so. I went to the ear of the blind man for a moment. The blind chapter finished laughing.